Good morning. My name is Guillermo Figueroa, and we want to welcome you to our Business Analytics Applied Project Showcase. I will be sharing my screen. I am a team member of Group A10, and my client is Hyundai Capital of America. I want to share with you background information of myself. Um, I have several years of experience in the finance field. Uh, I have held different managerial positions in marketing and business departments. I have a MBA in business administration with a major in accounting and finance. And I want to first of all thank Dr. Haluk. He is the director of the Center for Business Analytics, and he is the director of the MSBA program here at the University of Washington in Tacoma. And I also want to thank Michael Helser, which is the program and operations manager, and his wonderful staff. I also want to acknowledge and give great thanks to Thing Kui. She's the business director for Hyundai Capital of America, and Scott Kennedy, which is the product development manager. We want to thank you for sharing your time with us. And this is the presentation overview of the topics that I'm going to be covering today. And I want to start by sharing the executive summary of Hyundai Capital of America. The company is based in Irvine, California. They have three major locations, one in Dallas, one in Atlanta, and the other one in Newport Beach, California. They are the captive trust company that provides service to Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis products. They have over 1,700 dealers and 1.7 million retail customers. The statement of purpose here is to develop an interactive dashboard that would help management measure, track, and better understand what are some of the challenges and opportunities that they have to make better decisions going forward. The primary functionalities is to help enhance dealer loyalty, increase leads utilization, and support the OEM, which is the manufacturer. From a very high level project goal and objectives, their number one focus and objective is to increase sales for the Western region. The statement of work is to create a model by using the different techniques and strategies that we have learned through the graduate program, like Power BI, Tableau, Azure machine learning, cognitive analysis, Excel, regression models as well. We started by doing data gathering, and we were able to get specific and real data out of their systems and database. And we started to clean up the data. We realized that it was in different categories with different variables. So we took the initiative to go over all the information, and we did ask a lot of questions in order to get a better understanding of the entire process. And that way it would help us complete, our task. We did the descriptive analytics, and here the most important factor was to determine the reasons of why the Western region had lower participation and business contract volume versus other regions. And looking at the historical data and looking at the trend, that is how we were able to predict the analytics. And then we had the predictive analytics, where we created a model that would help us best predict on those specific dealers the contract volume penetration levels through HCA. Then we completed the prescriptive analytics, where we were able to have a combination of descriptive, predictive, in order to provide our options and recommendations. And this is how the data was actually distributed. Like I mentioned earlier, it was in an Excel format. So everything was fully distributed with the different variables, and it made it much, much better for us to actually complete part of that cleaning process that I mentioned previously. This is a project analysis, and at the very beginning, we did run into some challenges. We had to wait for senior managers to make the decision in order to provide us the data. And afterwards, once we got the data, everything continued to work and move more smoothly, and we were able to have access to have discussions with the managers. From a data analysis plan 1, we actually took the different dealers and we distribute them between the different tiers. So high volume was actually distributed in tier 1, medium volume size were tier 2, and low volume was actually tier 3. Then we completed the 5W process when we did our first analysis, and that's how we came up with, what's the main situation. And one of the things that we had mentioned is we wanted to address the low penetration on that specific region. Also, how can we maximize that dealer volume penetration through HCA? Then we completed the data analysis plan 2, and this is where we came up discovering some preliminary facts and drivers of that current performance that we were actually identifying specifically on the Western region. Then we did our second analysis of the 5Ws, and we came up with the dealer needs analysis. It's something that we need to look at, and how can we actually get those dealers to take advantage of the HCA programs and improve their performance. Then we did the data analysis plan 3, and this is where we started to establish some predictive analytics information to set up and start creating our models as well. Then we did our third analysis to address the 5Ws, and we focus on how to create a system that would help control and measure and track the information to help managers make better decisions. And then how can we prevent the potential loss of business, which became our number 1 why. Then we have the summary and findings, and this is where we were able to do some of the discovering through our data analysis, and we got to the level where we saw low take rates, lower percentages, and dealer loyalty. And that's how we started to put everything in place to come up with our recommendations and findings. Then on the post analysis and recommendations, we uh, had a preliminary conversations and meetings with our client in order to connect the data and get their feedback and come up with that post and recommending an analysis. And this is the summary of the different phases that we did through the year in order to cover all the steps that we took from start all the way to the different meetings, different discussions, different processes through the final product, which is presentations and recommendations. From a business and analytics standpoint, we use Power BI in order to get a better understanding of the data. And here you could see that we measure the bookings by the different regions, and we could see the Western region here right in the middle, and you could see the distribution between lease applications and lease bookings. And here you could see the way the business is divided between retail and leases. And even though the retail volume is higher than leasing, leasing tends to have a higher loyalty rates with customers. So one of the major things that we learn about the Power BI analysis through this dashboard is that the Western region could actually benefit by focusing on leasing business. That's kind of part of our recommendations, but we wanted to show you how our data actually would link to the Power BI analysis. So it's a very interesting dashboard. And here you could see the performance on the 3 tiers of business that we talked to you about. And then here you could see the slope coming from positive to negative, positive being tier 1, and then going down to tier 2, and then tier 3, which is the bottom level, and that will be the negative as well. We did the same thing using Power BI to measure the tier 1 loyalty analysis, and we were able to get very interesting information through our analysis. Then we did the same thing for tier 2, and we were able to validate part of the data analysis and the predictive and analytics that we were actually discussing with our client. Then we did the same thing for tier 3. Then we utilized the Tableau reporting to measure and track the performance by region and by business development managers. And here you could see that we could track the sales, the penetration, and the leasing penetration. And we also did what's called a BDM territory performance through Tableau in order to determine what are the areas of opportunities and where we could help management concentrate and refocus as part of the strategy to increase sales in the Western region. Then we did our Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Studio, where we ran our data and did our experiment. And here you could see the leasing booking, and this is the visualization where you can see how the lease business on this scatter plot continues to grow. So the more leasing business, the higher the penetration is going to be. So it's a very interesting analysis through this visualization. And then here, this is the histogram where we could see a coefficient determination of almost 1%. And then here you can see the 3.5, which is the mean absolute error. And this is our transformation plan. So part of the transformation plan is to develop new goals and objectives, invest in innovation and technology, propose a revised business plan, and get approval and governance from the company. And this is our recommendations. One of the things is to conduct a dealer needs analysis, improve leasing portfolio, and create a dashboard to track the KPIs. And finally, this is the summary of the references that we used. We got most of the information from HCA out of their database and through the Excel format. We also got information from the national and regional reports, and we got information from the automotive industry reports and Experience Out Account, which is another very good source of information. So with that, I want to thank you all for joining me, and we want to open it up for questions and answers. Thank you very much.